Well, first of all, I'm very proud of that endorsement. I am a Moms Demand Gun Sense candidate, and I'm very proud to be one. So, which is why I not only wear the shirt, but I wear it proudly and publicly as often as I can. First and foremost, probably the easiest way to talk about issues dealing with guns and gun violence, and what I always like to do is attack the binary. So what I mean by that is the gun groups like the NRA and so on, they have a tendency to try to cast their opposition, as kind of a straw man. So they approach the situation as if you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns. And they refuse to allow that there are people out there who might want to do a bit of both, or who might be able to find common ground somewhere in the middle. So the first thing we need to do in these kinds of discussions is dispel this idea that there are gun grabbers out there that are coming to take your guns and things like that. It's just not true. So, but another thing I would like to mention when it comes to this particular issue is that, I grew up in an NRA household. I grew up hunting and fishing and learning how to use guns and so on. It was just part of my childhood. I grew up in an area where, you wore camouflage to go to the grocery store. So the idea that, that these are not thoughtful people who want to end this kind of violence, that they're, it just isn't true. But what we have here is we have a small, very small leadership faction, that is so tied to the gun industry that they create this false narrative out there that there's this group of crazy left-wingers out there who are trying to take all your guns. The word common sense reform, common sense is right in the title. We're looking for things that make sense. We're looking for things that people, across the board favor by, 3-to-1 margins, and in many cases much higher than that. NRA membership in most cases is overwhelmingly in favor of these reforms, but it's just that small leadership group that is tied to the gun manufacturers that is still standing in the way. And to be honest, I'm surprised they're still so relevant. Now, how this pertains to races like mine is one thing that most people will understand. If you look into gun legislation, you'll find that most of it is local. Most of it is written by your state reps. Most of it is written in your state legislatures. For example, my opponent, a gentleman named Tim Schaefer, a few years back, he introduced a bill in the House, ended up becoming law. It's called the Guns in Bars Bill. And this is a bill that allowed people to carry, to concealed carry a loaded firearm into bars and restaurants, which is not the best idea in the world, if you ask me. But on top of that, it also made provisions for a number of other places. It made it legal to carry in a school zone. It made it legal to carry in an airport. It made it legal to carry in a daycare center, of all places, which I thought was really strange because, when you read legislation, you always come across things that were unintended. We wrote a law, it said X, but it could be interpreted as Y, and so we get this unintended consequence. Not in this case. The word daycare center is actually written in the bill. So you can take a concealed weapon into a daycare center because I don't know why. Maybe 3-year-olds are shadier these days. I have no idea. But it's absolute insanity, and it was introduced by my opponent, and it's now Ohio state law. I can carry a concealed firearm, a loaded concealed firearm, into an airport of all places. It's just gotten out of control. So when we talk about common sense reforms, when we talk about getting thoughtful gun owners to come to the table, these are the kinds of reforms we're looking to do something about. It's not about collecting people's guns or taking away their Second Amendment rights. There are reforms that are consistent with the Second Amendment, and we're just not making them law enough and in enough places.
Is there anything else that you want to make sure that our listeners are thinking about when they're thinking about either Ohio or your campaign?
Well, I think when it comes to, a broader, more national audience, what I would encourage folks to do is, because there's a lot of activism out there now, a lot of people getting excited and getting active and getting involved in campaigns. But I think we don't necessarily put the level of importance that we should on state level races. These state legislatures are key parts of what's happening out there. a lot of everybody's mad about gerrymandering and everybody's mad about the districts being what they are. And there's a big push to fix that. That happens in your state legislature as long as, because those are the folks who draw those lines. So a lot of the laws that affect your daily life are not necessarily written in Congress. They're written by your state reps and your state senators. So, I would encourage people to pay a little more attention to the state legislature races because they are of vital importance in 2018.
All right. And if people would like to get one of your terrific T-shirts so they can dress just like Rena Sofer, how do they go ahead and do that?
Well, they can just go to my website, which is brettpransky.com. There's a little button in the upper right corner that says store. You can go there, and that's where you can go and, and order whatever material you might like.
That website is the same place if they'd like to go donate? Absolutely.
There's another button there. It's just if you just want to throw in a donation or something like that, there's a donate button there as well. Again, these races are of critical importance, and it's me and my friends and neighbors up against all this corporate money. So every little bit helps.
All right. And we will put links on our website up for your website and your Twitter and Facebook feeds as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hey guys, my name is Dan Jandro. I'm a 24-year-old middle-class white dude.
Hey there, my name is Kelsey Dunham, and I am a queer 34-year-old femme, and we are the Babe and the Bro.
We are friends who met in college. Kelsey was a women and gender studies major. I was a fraternity brother and an IT major. And our goal is to take callers' experiences with dudes, the patriarchy, and whatever else you have a problem with, and have a conversation about it. Along the way, I'll give my perspective, and Kelsey is going to dish out a ton of education.
We release a new episode almost every Thursday, and we'd love for you to check us out. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, SoundCloud, all of those fun places.
Yeah, you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at The Babe and the Bro.
Anytime you listen to a podcast, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to keep checking out amazing content from folks who do this because they love it. Bye!
Bye!
I'm here in this segment with Amber Daniels, who is running for state representative in Ohio in House District 78. Hi, Amber.
Hi, how are you?
Great. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Could you tell me a little bit about your background and what inspired you to run for office now?
During the 2016 election and really since, there's been a lot of negativity just out there in the atmosphere. And I am politically engaged. And so because of that, my children have also been politically engaged. And I noticed that they were becoming kind of cynical. And they're young. My oldest is 17. And then I also have an 8 and a 5-year-old. And I believe that part of raising strong children into strong adults is teaching them about perseverance. So I wanted to teach them what we do when we get knocked down. And what we do is we get up and we keep fighting for the values that we know to be right and what we believe in. So that was what was my original push to do this. But then I was kind of politically engaged more, I guess, on the national level. So once I really started diving into Ohio politics, my eyes were opened up to the current culture of corruption, the one-party rule at our state house. And I really felt like I had no choice but to do this. I'm not sure how familiar you and your listeners are with what's been going on at our state house, but I can just give you a brief synopsis. Last month, our Republican House Speaker, Cliff Rosenberger, he resigned, and the FBI is looking into his donor-funded travel with lobbyists from the payday lending industry. Just last week, the FBI did raid his home. And his resignation is actually just the cherry on top of a year of scandals in the Republican-controlled state house. Just in the year, there's been inappropriate behavior from the Republican House caucus. It's really ran the gamut from everything from predatory behavior towards younger men. One of them passed out drunk in a McDonald's drive-thru. One of them was exchanging inappropriate text messages with a constituent and actually ended up being a woman that was running against him in the primary. And then they were caught making derogatory comments about their women colleagues. So, and then now it's reaching this federal investigation into financial corruption. We are right now in the moment of Me Too and Time's Up. And so I'm just kind of here to say, time's up. Ohioans deserve a transparent government, and they deserve better than a frat house of representatives. And, statistics show that only 25% of state legislator seats are held by women nationwide. And political science research shows that women legislators sponsor more bills and send more money back to their districts. And, I really believe that representation matters. I think it's beyond time that women and mothers take their seat at the table. So that is what I am intending to do.
And the district that you're running in, District 78, so Ohio's already passed the primary. So right now you're running for November in the general against your Republican opponent who is an incumbent and looks like has been involved in politics for a very long time and is male. And it looks like last time around nobody even opposed him. He ran unopposed in the general.
Yes, that's correct. He has been in politics. He's been in the Ohio State House actually off and on since the 90s. He tends to move districts and runs in different districts. The current district, our District 78, he did run unopposed in the last election. And I just think it's because of the way the district is set up. It does tend to favor the Republican Party. And I think that, as I was speaking earlier, people become cynical. And I think people tend to lose hope when one party rules over and over and over again. Less people come out to vote and, obviously less people come out to run. But we're really excited this time around. We've got 99 seats open and we have 99 candidates running across the state on the Democratic ticket. So that's really exciting.
So could you tell us a little bit about where in Ohio District 78 is? It looks like it's a fairly large district geographically.
Geographically, it is fairly large. It actually spans 6 counties. We have the lower half of Fairfield County, part of Pickaway County, a little tiny bit of Muskingum County, a portion of Athens County, and then all of Morgan and all of Hockey. So it's six counties. And the furthest that I drive, the furthest distance from where I'm located is about an hour, 20 minutes to get to.
And so this is kind of central Ohio. It's a little bit south of the Columbus area for people who are unfamiliar with Ohio geography.
Where I live at in my district, I am about 20 minutes outside of the city. In Ohio, we tend to talk about distance and time. So I'm about 20 minutes outside of downtown Columbus. It takes me about 20 minutes to get there. But my district actually, as you said, it's a wide district. So the communities are different from where I'm at. I'm in a small town, but when you get down to Morgan County, it's also a small town, but it's more Appalachian area, especially my portion of Athens County. That's Appalachian and down by Morgan and Muskingum and Hocking as well.
So other than the issue of corruption in the State House, what are the other issues that people in your district are concerned with?
Well, one of the main things that we're facing is with public education. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the ECOT scandal that is also going on, but ECOT was a for-profit charter school, and they closed their doors abruptly. And there was approximately 12,000 students that were left scrambling for education. Many of them went back to our public school districts, and they found themselves behind their same age peers, and children were hurt, and the money did not go back with them. So one of the things that I see as a big issue is that I strongly believe that public funds need to stay in our public schools, period. The amount of money that was taken from our public schools to go to this now closed for-profit charter school, it's about over $3 million from my district alone. And from my children's school, it was over $122,000. And I personally have 2 children that are on IEP. And I've just completed my second year on our PTO as the secretary. So I know how hard that we hustle to help provide funds to our public schools. So that's a really big issue, the funding within our public schools. Again, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but over 20 years ago, our Supreme Court said that the way that we fund our schools, our public schools, is unconstitutional. And that has still not been straightened out. So that's a big issue that is going on, is we need to strengthen our public school system. Absolutely. And then also within my district, as I told you, I have the areas that are Appalachian, Ohio. And one of the issues that they're facing is they can't even get internet access. So we really need to get rural internet access available to those areas. Along with the internet access, healthcare access is also an issue. I have one county that I represent that does not even have a hospital within the county. And it's also one of the areas that has issues with internet access. And I know with my insurance that I have now, we have an Ask a Nurse program where you can actually send, pictures, or you can send video over the internet to a nurse any hour of the day, and they can actually look at it and tell you, if it's an emergency situation, if your kid has a rash or something unusual going on. So Internet access, a lot of people will think about that and they think that maybe that's a luxury, but in 2018, internet access is not a luxury. It's a necessity.